But even as children, you got to get your aggression out. Or no,
Right.
maybe at that age it's not aggression, but maybe at that age it's just energy.
Well, maybe they don't know what it is.
Or that, yeah.
Yeah, because I remember growing up, I wasn't sure what to call it. Right now, as we
Yeah.
get older, we give it names. But
Where'd you grow up at?
Pomona,
P-Town?
yeah, P Town. So
Where's your
I
placazo at? Where's
the
your P-Town?
Picasso's over here on the shoulder.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, I think if you're from P Town and don't have the Placaso, you can't say you're from
Oh,
there.
yeah, exactly. P-Town, what's up? Yeah.
Right there, P Town, they offer it for free, bro. The
Oh,
Placaso.
really?
Yeah.
In every corner?
As long as
Con un
like
raspado?
if you hang out too long in Pomona, someone's gonna offer you the Placaso for free.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not sure. Depending what type of night it is, it depends on the quality.
Man, I can't laugh right now. I'm coughing so much.
If it's paid, you might get decent service.
Are you gonna get more work?
Got a little setup already ready, huh?
Of course.
So this is your Friday night going out?
Exactly. This is my
Friday night parties?
my Friday night parties. Exactly. Let me fix your mic. Man, look, they let you out of the house. So where are you going later?
Just some friends want to meet up. Friday
Oh,
night.
yeah?
Yeah. We don't even know what we're gonna do.
No.
No.
Your house?
Maybe.
Let's see. There you go.
Let's go hang out for a little bit. I'm a little tired. I might go home anyways.
Really?
Friday nights, we get tired, bro. Not like back in the days.
Yeah, dude. I'm exhausted, man. I'm exhausted.
I thought this was a mic.
It is a mic.
Oh, okay.
Mic. Camera has a mic. Yeah,
That's right. So what do? We just chit chat, and then you just
Pretty much, man. We just chop it up. I wasn't able to bring your painting because you never confirmed until today, and I'm like, fuck, I gotta go home.
That was the only thing that's the main reason I came.
I have one that I did for you, but I don't know if you would like it. So
Why?
I because I did two for you.
Oh,
I
okay.
did so
Oh.
I did a simple one, right? One that's like pretty not like this, obviously a little bit more abstract. Um, and then I did one that's like a little crazy, like a little my style.
Yeah.
It's right there.
So that is no, that's the one I thought I was coming for.
Oh, you want that one? Okay, yeah.
Why is that one not it?
No. So that's what I'm saying. So I did
Oh,
two. So
okay.
I did a small one, like without all the abstract shit.
You try to be like conservative on the other one.
Yeah, I was like, you know what, man? I don't know, like if Ricardo's gonna put up
Right.
some my crazy ass shit. I was like, let me paint him one that's like all nice and cute and like all dull colors
Uh,
and shit. And I put the writing that you wanted, so I put the writing on there. And then this one, I just said, fuck it, let me have a good time with it. So if you're gonna put that one up, that's yours.
no, I prefer the one that reflects your personality.
Oh, that's me right there all
Yeah.
fucking day.
Yeah,
I,
I mean,
and
because it's supposed to represent the artist, right?
Yeah, I use spray paint on that. I use house paint. I used watercolor. I use acrylic. I use marker. I went crazy on that one. I like all the red, like up at the top. I was gonna put some writing on there. I was like, nah, you know what, man? I gotta be conscious of Ricardo. I gotta be conscious of Ricardo. But I had a good time doing it, man. So there you go. I started painting.
Thank you. No, it's funny because I feel like a lot of people are conscious of Ricardo.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when they think of doing something for me, like even people at the office, they're like, they overthink it
Mhm.
because it's Ricardo.
Right.
But in reality, I want it to come from them, right? Like I don't want them to overthink. I don't know where that comes from. Maybe my personality comes across that way, where they have to overthink it or something. I don't know.
Well, you're pretty conservative.
Is that the way I probably come across that way? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and I am. I am. I'm not gonna say I'm not. I am. I've gone better with that though because I feel like yeah, it has kept me. Well, no, it hasn't kept me, but I've just gotten better with it, to the point where I've allowed things to play out the way they need to be played out instead of wanting them to play out a certain way that I want them to play out. Does that make any sense?
That does.
Like I always felt like for a long time I was very wanting things to come out a certain way. And now I'm learning to live a life where I'm letting things flow. And when you take that pressure off you, because it's also pressure that you put on yourself, on your own expectations, on things you do. So now that I think about it, it just kind of it's just it kind of, you feel free once you let go of that. I don't know where it came from, but through my most of my 30s, I was like that in a lot of the things I did in my life.
A little rigid, or not, or
Like I just felt like it was more, I don't know what the word is. It was kind of hard on myself.
okay.
You know what I mean? I was hard on myself in regards to how things needed to play out. And I think people picked up that. You see what I mean? So when they would do something for me, they were like, "Well, it's Ricardo." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But lately, it's been a little while where I've made those changes, where I feel like I've learned to let go, and that not everything needs to be perfect.
Letting go is hard, man.
It is.
It's super hard.
Yeah.
It's funny because I saw like a reel. It was Andy Frisella. You know who Andy Frisella is, right? Like,
Maybe not.
I think he's like a coach, like, something along the lines of coaching. Or at least those are the videos that I see of him. I don't necessarily agree with everything he says. I don't think with anybody, we always agree with everything they say. But the message that he had talked about was that highly successful people are always the hardest on themselves.
Yeah.
And they never feel like they're succeeding. They always feel like they're behind. They always feel like whatever they accomplish, it's not the best. It's not what I wanted it to be.
Right.
It's so hard to accept that.
Yeah.
And I have a hard time myself. I think I'm getting nicer to like being to myself.
Yeah.
Like,
Nicer with yourself.
yeah. Honestly, it's just being nicer to yourself, and
Right.
that's been so hard because that's not how I've ever functioned.
Right.
Like, my dad's a nice guy, but my dad's also a dick. And I say that because I played sports my whole life,
Right.
and my dad was always just like exigiendo, and it just transfers to business. But then there's also like the personal side of me that, regardless of my dad, I would still have that competitive nature,
Right.
and it's hard to change. But when you do, well, let me put it this way. Mentally, for some people, it might be hard to change, but all it is a switch. You just got to make a choice.
Right.
And once you make that choice, then, you just start accepting things for what they are.
Yeah.
But it's something I guess we learn with age.
Yeah, I think the word that comes to my mind is like you said, we have to be nice to ourselves. Sometimes I think we have to be forgiving to ourselves.
Yeah.
Because that's the part that that I've been noticing. I have to forgive myself for things that I do.
Te
Yeah,
perdono.
like I'm like, hey, estás perdonando. But it's kind of like you got to let yourself off the hook, right? Like so. And then you describe your dad. I'm that type of dad with my daughters. Like I always see, like, yeah, they're good, but you could do better, right? And mom on the other side has always kind of just celebrated whatever they were able to offer, right?
Right.
So it's good to have both, but I'm kind of the dad like your father. I'm always, but I'm like that with myself too, right? I always set those standards for myself. But I think for me, it wasn't really a choice. It was more like I think I went through like this mental crisis through 2021 at the January where I had like this mental breakdown from, first of all, everything that was happening in the world. And then
2021.
yeah, like towards January of 2021. So it was through COVID.
Okay.
December of 2020 is where we had the big spike in death. So I was seeing a lot of my clients pass, people at the office, and there was a lot of death going around. Plus the stress of work, because in real estate, instead of slowing down, it picked up.
A lot.
Right, a lot. So we had high demand. They closed down our gym. They closed down everything. So I pretty much went into I don't know what to describe, a mental crisis, breakdown, and I couldn't function for a couple months. And that led to me to take some time off in the middle of a lot of work. Took some time off and focused on myself, get better from that. And that's something that you continue to get better from. But through that trial is where I've learned to not be so hard on myself, to let go, to let. So when you say it's a choice, it could be a choice, but sometimes we're put in a situation where we're forced to let go and live a different life. So since then, I've been living a different life, meaning I don't. I used to be a workaholic, man. I was in the office all day, every day. Um, and that's how I grew my success. But now I try to have a balance. You know, now if somebody like invites me for Taco Tuesday, I might take them up on them. Compared to before, I used to use the word I'm busy. But the reality is, we're never busy enough to spend some time with a good friend or good laugh or stuff like that. So now I'm,
Well, I'm glad you came. I
yeah,
made some time for me.
exactly.
You didn't tell me you were busy.
I didn't tell you I was busy. I said, hey, I'm gonna go check it out. So I've been making time for stuff like this, man,
That's cool,
to
man.
connect with people.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's it's tough because we want to provide,
right,
right, for our family. We also have, I think, a personal commitment to ourselves as to like what we want to do, regardless of, let's say, family and stuff like
right.
that. Um, but at the end of the day, we don't take none of this shit with us.
Exactly,
None of it.
exactly.
And COVID for me was when my dad was in the hospital for a month.
Yeah, I remember seeing the stories.
Yeah, dude. So my dad would almost died. He calls it his little mini vacation. But mind you, while my dad was in the hospital for a month, my mom was in her place. Then my aunts went to her place because all three of them got COVID. I was in my house quarantined with COVID. So it's like we're all separated, right?
Hmm.
And then I started losing my mind. Like honestly, like
Right.
I couldn't do math, being alone, not seeing anybody. So one of the things when I came back and I told Mike, I said, "Man, you know what? I know you're not going to agree with this with it 100%, but I'm not going to give a fuck about what anybody thinks about me anymore. Like let's say on the business side.
Right.
I know I'm a good loan officer. I know I have a good heart. I know that I deliver on my commitments. But that persona that I've always been online, where it's a little bit more reserved
Right.
because we don't want to, show our true selves.
Right.
I said, fuck that. I'm gonna be myself. I curse. I'm tatted. I dance. I do all my crazy stuff. But if you pull all my numbers reflect what we actually
Right.
accomplished, right? And so, it was a freeing experience.
Right.
It was like, fuck. I could just not pick up my phone like after 8 o'clock at night because
Right.
you know what? There's always tomorrow.
Right.
Or it's whatever I'm doing at 8 o'clock at night might be more important than taking a phone call. Yes, maybe I'm losing money, but I'm also happier.
Right.
Um, and sometimes it's like you said. I think it's a choice, but the second piece is that sometimes it's forced upon you, like those circumstances, and then you just got to make that choice. Like, do you decide to keep doing the same shit you were doing before, or do you actually change?
Yeah, so I'm with you on that. After that, I realized that one of the things that I thought about was like, let's say, we obviously a lot of people experience death nearby, right? Something that a lot of us haven't, right? Like seen so many people go
Have
so
you had
fast.
people?
Not too close to me, but I had clients that I loved. There was this gentleman specifically that I could think of that, him and his wife were getting ready to retire. Well, they were retired. So they were downgrading, right? Older couple in their 60s. But, the guy was like retired. He would come to the office every appointment. And, he was one of those guys that gave you that like fatherly love, right? All the time. Hey,
Yeah.
amigo, how are you? And this and that. So it's you have that connection right away with that fidencia. And, I took that transaction very serious because I was like, okay, this is like, this is like, let's say my parents, right? I'm gonna take good care of them. And it was one of those transactions, a contingent sale. Those could be tricky.
Those are fun.
They're fun. I like them because they challenge you, right? They come with challenges.
Oh, I'm being sarcastic.
And no, I mean, I do think they're fun. I do like those type of transactions because they challenge you.
Yeah, of course.
But it relies on other agents being on the same page. Anyways, it got pushed back, got delayed, but everything worked out fine. They moved over there. They downgraded closer to one of their sons out in the Sperry area, and then I think like a couple weeks after that we closed, he passed through COVID. So those were hard, man. Those were hard because I was taking care of so much of the transaction. I kind of, gained this love for him in such a short period, and then to see him go. So they felt close in a short period of time. So that's when I started experiencing. That's just one example. There was many going on within a short period of time, and it hit me, right. And then that's what I was like, wait, wait, wait. That's not. I started evaluating my life.
Yeah.
I started saying, wait, for the last 10 years, been working my ass off. I had this goal, right, that I want to be able to, when my daughters get to college, if they want to go to school, that dad could afford it, and give them a better place to grow up compared to where I grew up, blah, blah, blah. Those were my goals. And thank God I've accomplished that. So now I'm thinking like, this is not the way I want to go down. It's just like someone that just works, works, right? And so I had to make a lot of changes. I started making time for friendships. I started making time for, I started coming into the office a little later. And I just started living under my terms. I don't answer my phone after a certain amount of time. I actually have two phones intentionally. When it's
I've
like,
thought about that.
yeah, when it's just family, friends, and close people.
Hmm.
And my work phone, like if I go to the gym, my work phone stays in the car. My work phone stays downstairs. My work phone stays away from me within certain time frames of the day.
Time blocking.
Yeah, I time block it, especially in the morning. Sometimes I don't start making calls to 10, 11 a.m. I use the morning for myself. So these are all changes that were made right after all that was happening. And I went through this mental crisis where I was very unstable in regards to my own mindset, just experiencing all that so fast.
It fucks with you, man.
Yeah.
It fucks with you because, um, obviously, both you and I deal with a lot of different clients,
Right.
and it's not only your clients, but then it's like the title officer, the escrow officer, the appraiser, obviously, realtor relationships that we have, and you know, our business, like I don't, and I think you're in the same. It doesn't function off of like online clients.
Right.
There's a genuine connection with, I would say, the majority of our clients, and it's long conversations, getting to know them, their families. Not everybody is a connection,
Right.
but when you start hearing, and you're on the phone all day, because I'm on the phone all day, and 8 out of 10 calls, someone's died or they mentioned death during
Right.
that. I'd had, it's kind of like, you know how like, what do they have, ginger when you eat sushi or something like that to clean your palate?
Yeah.
Because you move on to the next call, I got to be upbeat.
Right.
I, and I got to bring in positive energy.
Yeah.
But in reality, I still got the death that we just talked about
Right.
in the back of my head, and then more death, and then more death, and
Right.
then more death. So I haven't experienced a lot of death in my life, man. Other than, I mean, obviously recently, yes. Um, but for a very, very long time, it was just my grandparents. And I mean, my grandparents were the closest to me. And they lived with us for years, and a very, very, very close relationship. But then it was just many years of no death. And then all of a sudden, it was just
Right.
obviously dumped on a lot of us.
Right.
And as much as you mentally prepare for it, because I've been preparing for it, Mike and I have had these talks about, man, our parents are getting older. We know it's coming. But when it hits,
Right.
logic goes out the window. When my mom called me, she's like, they're taking your dad, in the ambulance to the hospital. He's dying. He can't breathe. So it's like it's just an immediate emotional reaction.
Right.
There's no logic like, oh, okay, I know something happening to dad. No, fuck that.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
Yeah.
So how did you, or what did you do to try to help yourself get out of it?
So it was very hard for me. I guess I want to believe that. I mean, I still deal with some of that trauma, right, from that time. Like you said, I'm part of a men's Bible study, and I remember within that time, like we were just getting ongoing texts, like pray for this person, they just died. This person, like, so I was even afraid to open my next text. It got that bad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was on the phone with the clients, but I was afraid to look at my next text because I was like, wait, who's next, right? Or
Yeah.
so it really affected me, you know what I mean? And I started, I couldn't function for a couple weeks. I couldn't sleep. My heart was like beating off, you know, like my whole nervous system was like activated, you know? It was like I was in shock,
Hmm.
kind of, you know? So I couldn't sleep. I was having a lot of anxiety. I couldn't function for what was it like? I'm gonna say like 2 to 3 weeks, and then I felt like okay, I need some help, right? So I went to a doctor, started going to therapy. You know, I'm a believer in therapy because I know you're sober. I've been sober for almost 11 years, going into October.
Do you have a
So
date?
I think it's October 14 or 12. I had to verify that one.
Yeah. You
Yeah,
write it down in a book or what?
yeah, it's written down somewhere.
I think I wrote it down in a book, but I don't know what fucking book.
Yeah,
So
no, you know what? For a while, I was celebrating. I think the 14, and then I realized it was the 12. But it's gonna be 11 years
excuse
next
me.
month. So,
Congratulations, man.
yeah. So coming from that, um, you know, I forgot where I was going with that, but the sobriety. Going,
The therapy and
yeah,
sobriety.
so I'm a big believer on therapy because when I recovered from sobriety, I was in therapy for a little while, and it helped me, you know, overcome, like kind of unload whatever I was carrying on from that. So this time I went back to that because it has worked in the past. I was like, all right, maybe I need to unload a lot of stuff. And I'm realizing, yeah, that there's a lot of things I've been carrying around. Like, yeah, I this trauma kind of like it was new trauma, but there was a lot more other trauma that maybe I've been carrying around from my 20s that I never really dealt with, you know? So I've been working through that. That has been helping. Prayer, working out. Working out is one thing that I'm taking very serious right now. I'm sure you've probably seen some of my. I'm doing boxing right now,
Oh, are you?
so yeah. So I picked up boxing.
Golden Boy
So I'm gonna be
Promotions
the next golden
need a
boy.
yeah.
So I'm picking up boxing, picking up just exercise, you know, eating better, like just the natural self care.
Yeah.
You know, vitamins, stuff like that. So
Here, I want to
that's kind of where I'm at right now.
you are leaning back.
All right.
Um so it's when I was talking to someone. I did a podcast with Maritza. Um she's I think she's a psychologist,
Mm,
right? Um but I was telling her that it's really hard for me to open up.
yeah.
I'm very open, obviously, but there's things that I will just not fucking say.
Right.
There's just a lot there that I don't want to tell no one.
Mm,
Um, and then you know she was talking about intimacy, and she said you know there's different levels of intimacy. She said you know you can have a level of intimacy with your dog, for example, or with an animal, but it only gets to like for example like a level 3 because there's no communication back and forth, right? They can't speak to you. They can maybe hear you. You can feel their love, but they can't you know respond. And then an unrealistic intimacy is a 10, right? It's just completely unrealistic. But like a 7 would be, let's say, a decent number. And so part of the whole thing is like the reason I say all of that is because of the psychological aspects of the shit that we sometimes carry that we don't say. That all it takes sometimes is just the ability to just kind of get it out
right.
and someone to hear you.
Right.
And it doesn't fix it 100%, but it feels better.
Yeah. It feels like you're unloading. And then, you know, I want to say that I've been to a couple while I was going through this crisis. I went to a couple therapists because just like realtors or loan officers, not all are the same, right?
Yeah, right.
So I went to a few, and I would give them the benefit of doubt, try them out for like a month,
Uh-huh.
and see how I was feeling, right? And so I found one that I felt like was meeting, actually wasn't meeting my expectation, was exceeding what I wanted to get because she wasn't the average. She wasn't like, "Hey, how was your day?" and tell me about your day, right? Like she was very like would interact with me and would ask me some questions where it would make it about me. I was making it about the world. I was like, the world's all fucked up, you know, I don't like George that much and blah blah blah, right? So I was making it all about the outside sources. right? Like I was there to talk about everybody
Everybody
is
else except you
everybody except me. And other
would
therapists
let
will,
you get away
yeah,
with it.
we'll listen to you, but like, oh yeah, and they'll even agree with you, like, oh
Well,
yeah,
this fucked
yeah,
up.
you're right. Yeah, I could see how that would, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But this one was like, well, let's, why does that make you feel that way? And so everything, she kept making everything about me, everything about me. At first, I was like, this lady's crazy,
Yeah.
at first. But then every time I went, I realized that the questions she was asking me was, they were deeper, that I was trying not to talk about them.
Yeah.
She was asking me things that once you said things that maybe I've been avoiding to talk about. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And she was more focused to hear about that. And I've been seeing her for a year, and I recently just opened up to her about something that I haven't talked to nobody about for a long time. A year later, I'm barely telling her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And she was like, so yeah, so I understand. Like, there's a lot of things we
Excuse me.
carry around that we don't want to talk about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But she does a good job, kind of digging in, and she's also like, when she sees she's digging in too much, she's like, she'll slow down because she doesn't
Because then
want,
you'll close off.
exactly. So she's pretty bright.
That's cool, man.
Yeah, she's pretty badass at what she does.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I sit a lot with myself, and think. That always helps me. Um, I have a lot of acquaintances, but I don't have that many. Actually, I don't think. I mean, maybe I could say maybe one person that I can kind of share certain things with, but I'm very, and I think maybe it's men, or maybe it's I don't know what's wrong with us, or just actually, let me not blame men. Let me just blame myself.
Right.
Um,
Blaming the world.
exactly. So
Let's make it about you right
let's
now,
make it
George.
about me. So one thing I told a person one time was, like, I don't even share certain things with my brothers because I don't want them to see me a different way.
Right.
They know who I am in the world. They've seen me, for obviously their entire life. They're like, well, why don't you share, certain things with them? It's like, because I don't want them to see me a different way. Um, so there's a lot of things that I know that I carry that it's like I can't tell no one about because of my assumption of how they may perceive me different, because I may have a certain thought or I may have gone through something, and me thinking like I'm stronger than that, I can figure it out. But sometimes, like just even doing these podcasts, man, helps me understand things different because I start processing it. I'm like, fuck, like, all right. I'm genuinely thinking like, okay, that's a good idea. Like, okay, maybe I could do that. Like, maybe that could work for me too.
Right.
Um, but that's because I'm open, and I think we should be open. We should be open, and it's tough for us because sometimes when I do talk to other dudes, because obviously those are conversations that I have, they're struggling.
Yeah.
They're struggling, like grown ass men are struggling, and it's like they have
To talk to.
no one to fucking talk to, man.
Right.
It's tough.
Yeah.
What I've done before is on my phone, like if it's in the middle of the night, I prefer to write it down. If I don't have a notepad, let's say next to the bed, I will just put it on my phone. But it's just like random thoughts, like to just get it out of my fucking head. Um, or sometimes when I'm watching a movie or a show, I'll put in like little notes or quotes just because it's I don't want it to just keep spinning around in my head. I got to get it out. I got to
Right.
get it out. I think it's so cool when people write poetry. I don't like poetry, but they're able to get that message out. Or people write songs and they're able to get out emotions. Well, painting has helped with my getting my shit out. Um, so that one, I don't know who I was pissed off at, but
You don't look pissed off on that one.
do you actually like it though?
Yeah,
Are you
yeah.
gonna put it up? Because if you're not gonna put it
No,
up,
I will.
all right,
But you don't look pissed off on it.
okay, good.
You look like you're having fun.
I did. I had a lot of fun with that one.
I think everybody has a way of releasing, right? Everybody has a way of releasing. I mean, whatever they have inside, and some haven't found that what area it is, right?
Sports.
Right.
I just talked to the Children's Foundation. Um, Thank you again, by the way,
Mhm.
for being a sponsor. Quality Real Estate is a sponsor of the Oktoberfest event. So they asked me today, they said, hey, we got a lot of teenagers, right? A lot of teenagers that are in a home. It's in El Monte. And they said, could you guys do a donation of a boxing bag, right? Because they're teenagers.
Right.
They have a lot of aggression. They got to get it out. And so I'm like, all right, let me figure out like if it's a boxing bag or if it's one of those like a speed bag or if it's one of those I don't know, those monos that
Mhm.
look like people with like, you
Right.
know. But even as children, you got to get your aggression out. Or no,
Right.
maybe at that age it's not aggression, but maybe at that age it's just energy.
Well, maybe they don't know what it is.
Or that. Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember growing up, I wasn't sure what to call it. Right now, as we
Yeah.
get older, we give it names. But
Where'd you grow up at?
Pomona,
P-Town?
yeah, P Town. So,
Where's your placazo at? Where's
well,
your
the
P-Town?
Picasso's over here in the shoulder.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, I think if you're from P Town and don't have the Placaso, you can't say you're from there.
Oh, yeah, exactly. P-Town, what's up? Yeah.
Right there, P Town, they offer it for free, bro. The
Oh,
Placaso.
really?
Yeah.
In every corner?
As long as you,
Con un raspado?
like, if you hang out too long in Pomona, someone's gonna offer you the Placaso for free.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not sure. Depending what type of night it is, it depends on the quality.
Man, I can't laugh right now. I'm coughing
You know,
so much.
if it's paid, you might get decent service.
Are you gonna get more work?
I don't know. I've thought about it. I thought about it.
Yeah.
Thought
What
about
do you
it.
have right now?
I have most of the stuff I have is all just from when I was like 18 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that's
just
when's the last time you got tatted?
ran stuff. Probably this cross. I think like 2, 3 years ago.
Oh, okay, okay.
But other than that, it was all just
18 years old?
yeah, about 18, 19, 17.
That was like 60 years ago.
It was just like garage type of tattoos, bro.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
you just with the homies in the garage drinking, smoking, and then somebody's like, some guy says he knows how to tat.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then a couple I did pay.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? I think the first one I got was in Fontana. Right when
Um,
I went to this shop right off Sierra.
I got a tattoo in Fontana off of Sierra.
Yeah. As soon as you
Like
get off the freeway right there to like your left or something like that. It was in the shop.
it was like right down. Mine was like downtown Fontana.
Oh, okay.
Um, and then another one was at do you know where Viva Villa is in Fontana?
No. I
So
don't know
Foot-
Fontana that much.
So let's call it. There was a off a foothill. There was just like a little spot. But it's funny because obviously the more tattoos I have, you just start noticing the difference of work, right?
Right.
Like you just start. It's like an agent that charges 1% commission versus
Right.
a 6% commission.
Start
It's like,
realizing service matters.
oh fuck yeah, dude! I'm like, I'll pay 6% all day, bro. 6% all day if I get that award-winning tattoo because that guy that's charging the 1%, you're like over here trying to erase it later. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And that hurts even more.
Yeah, that's what I tell people when they're like, why have an agent's charging me 1%? Like, I'm going to tell you one thing, that 1% might sound good, but this is one of your biggest sales of your life.
Yeah.
So are you really going to rely, on that 1% agent? I don't know their experience, but I know when I started, I was charged 1%. So it's up to you. You
Right.
decide.
The example or example that I've used in the past is to say, if you have to go to court,
Right.
it's really simple. You can represent yourself, right? Which is a FISBO.
Right.
But you could also self-incriminate and end up in jail.
Right.
Option number 2 is you get the public defender, right? Which is a person that's maybe charging you 1%.
Right.
And then option number 3, which is the best option, is you hire Johnny Cochran, right? You hire the guy that gets you out of jail when you actually committed murder, you
Yeah.
know? But you're gonna pay a price for it.
Right.
You're gonna pay a price. And so I know we all want to save money. I understand that. But at the end of the day, it's an adage of price is what you pay, value is what you get. And I am not paying $50 or $100 for a tattoo.
Right.
Like it's going on my body forever, man. I don't want to look in the mirror and it says like some crazy no regrets.
They misspell it.
Yeah. Exactly.
But you know what? Being a new agent, like when I was a new agent, I gave discounted, right, commission. So I think I've told some of my agents, especially new or barely getting started, I was like, look, for a little while, you might have to give a discount, because and it's not because it's to gain a reputation, right? To gain some like some reference, right? Some sales, right? Because you want to show that you've been selling. So at first, I think giving a discount's good, but you still want to give good quality service. So one way to do that is give a discount, but also maybe have your broker or a manager, someone experienced, maybe oversee your transaction.
Give a discount on price, but not on value.
Exactly. So yeah, like I tell my people, look, you tell people, hey, I'm new, right? I'm new to the business. I'm going to give you a discount, but don't think that the value is going to be less. My broker is going to oversee a transaction. He has 17 years experience. He's going to make sure that this transaction, is successfully closed. And some of my agents actually, do well with that. They really take advantage of what I'm telling them. Like say they were giving some level of discount. I try to help them negotiate so they don't go that low.
Right, 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 right.
But at the same time, I get involved. I'll call the client and say, hey, I'm the broker. I'm going to oversee the transaction. She's going to be your point of contact, but I'll get involved as needed. And I'm doing that in a couple of transactions. And I think the client also appreciates that. You know what I mean? Because the client appreciates because first they hired the agent because they liked the agent. So there must have been a connection between agent and client first. But then to know they have a backup, like someone with a lot more experience overseeing it, I think that gives a lot of confidence. A lot of confidence.
Do you think it's prudent? And I think I know the answer to this, but do you think it's prudent to be honest with the client and say, I'm new?
I think so. I mean, because I think we appreciate and I've heard coaches say that, and it makes sense. Like we all appreciate honesty, right? We don't want to fake, like we don't want to pretend we know what we're doing. I would much rather. I think like 2 years ago, I was going to hire an attorney, and I went. I paid my retainer, and then I met with the attorney, right? And the attorney, he looked young, bro, like very young.
No
So
mustache?
like, yeah, he was super young, bro. Like I'm talking about mid 20s, maybe like
The
no,
fuck? Dude,
like I mean that's how young he looked.
yeah,
Maybe he was
yeah,
like 30, but um, so the first question I asked him, I was like, bro, how long have you been like doing this? You look like you're straight out of high school.
yeah.
And then he said, I just passed my bar 3 months ago.
That's cool,
And
man.
he goes, but the people here, people right here, they've been doing it for 30 years and they're going to make sure I do the right job, the right
Right,
thing. That gave me all the confidence in the world. He could have lied,
right, right.
but the fact that he was honest with me and then he said, but I got these people that are going to make sure I do my work job. They're going to oversee it. I was like, I felt confident.
It,
So honesty goes a long way.
I couldn't fucking hide it, man. There's no way to hide that I was 17 years old when I started. Like, how could I
Right.
hide it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I pretended to be older,
Right.
right? I used certain words. I dressed a certain way. I combed my hair a certain way. Um, but I would always rely on my team, right? Rely on the senior loan officers that were helping me out.
Right.
But yeah, I thought that was the answer that you would give. It's just
Yeah.
being honest.
I noticed that my agents that are actually honest, transparent like that are probably the ones that are doing better. Are probably the ones that are closing more, to be honest with you. Even though they're new,
Right.
I could think of a few that are a couple years into the game, but these guys are closing every month.
Yeah.
And it's not that they have all the answers, because believe me, they're always, calling me or Phoenix for answers.
Right.
But they're very, they're always genuine with the clients, always telling them the truth. But they always say, hey, but I got a great team backing me up.
It's a team effort. I think
Right.
it has to be a team effort. I think people who don't recognize our industry as a team environment, you know, really don't succeed much.
Right.
Um, excuse me. So, how the hell did you get started in real estate? I know you were obviously getting placazos, over there in P Town, and
Uh,
how did it go from that to being
uh,
a broker?
how did it get from selling stuff in the streets?
Yeah, exactly. Stuff in the streets, actually selling the streets.
That's funny. No, I mean, how did it get their mounts? Because actually, there was just a broker. Well, he's a broker now, but my dad had a soccer league in Pomona, and then I would build trophies there first.
You would build
Yeah, I would
trophies?
build trophies, for the
Really?
soccer players.
Oh, okay, okay.
I would smoke a joint and then build trophies. So some of the trophies were a little loose, bro.
That's funny. Like, dude, what the fuck?
So we would get a couple trophies back, to like
Yeah,
redo
let's
them.
fix these, man.
So that's what would go in the back end of that soccer league, bro.
You gotta
But
stop making me laugh.
all my friends at some
Excuse
point,
me.
all my friends at some point worked in that back,
Yeah,
building
back
trophies
area.
with me, and we had an alley to ourselves and everything. So those were
Where
interesting
was
days.
where were you guys
In,
building
Pom-
these trophies?
in Pomona,
In Pomona.
right there off of Gary and Holt.
Okay.
So yeah, he is there. There's a Pulposeria right next to there. It was a Waldamex or I don't know, bro.
I think I mean,
You would probably know because you know Pulposeria.
because I know every Salvadorian spot.
No, I just thought that one was a known one for some
Oh,
kind of
okay.
reason. I heard that people have said that that's good.
Oh, really?
Right? Yeah.
I gotta check it out. Then.
But then I have another Salvadorian friend that he told me that that's not a good spot no more. That there's another one down the street, so I don't know.
Well, ask your friend, and then I'll go validate for you guys.
But he also said, "Be careful going into Pomona. It's kind of ghetto."
Well, that's true.
So that's where it all started, bro. So there was a Century 21 Americana, and there was this guy he was a manager for there, and then he would come in and he would order trophies for top producers.
Oh, okay.
So I started building trophies for top producers. And then he once said, "Ricardo, if you're gonna sell anything, why not sell the most expensive thing?" And that just stuck. I was like, "What is he talking about?"
Right.
Right? This guy just shot a little seed of wisdom, and wasn't sure what he was referring to. Right? I didn't know what real estate really was. I just know I was building some
How old
trophies
were
with
you?
the salesmen. So I don't know, like 18, maybe 19.
Yeah.
So then I would see him driving like through the window, every once in a while with his Mercedes, or then he had a van with his face on it. So I'm like, what is this guy up to, But
What is he selling?
what does this guy sell himself? Because he had a picture of himself. But then I found out it was real estate. So I started studying, and then I got my license. And then fun fact is that now, I do fix and flip now. So he actually brings me deals to do fix and flip. So me and
That's
him do a
cool,
lot
man.
of business together, man. So it's a beautiful story, right? Like he got me in for a while. I kind of had to build my way up, right? And I think he saw that I had to catch his attention, put it that way. Like
Yeah.
I was on my own for a while. And then once I started actually closing deals, we reconnected again, and then now we do a lot of business together, man.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
It's it for me, I was around the same age as you, and it was somebody that gave me an opportunity. And what enticed me about my job was the title. I don't know what the fuck a loan officer was. I just like the name. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's a cool name, like
Yeah.
loan officer. Oh my god, I wonder what that is. But it's nice when you keep those relationships with people. You don't burn bridges. You don't take advantage of someone, dándote la mano,
Right.
and that's really cool, man. That's really cool.
Yeah, and I remember another thing he said was like at the time I was like looking around for offices, right? When I got my license, he was like, so everybody, and it happens to me, people couldn't get licensed and they're like, oh yeah, how much you're paying, right? And what is your split? So I was looking for the best split, right? But
Right.
like one time he's like, Ricardo, what's 0 of 100%?
Yeah.
And I was like, what is he talking about? So he would always throw wisdom words at me that I would have to process and kind of figure out what he meant, right? So, and then I realized what he was trying to say. Like, it's more about what they're going to teach you, the support, the teamwork, because even 50% could go a long way, right? 50% of 50 transactions is a lot of money. So I realized that. I realized that sometimes we focus on things that are in reality in the long run kind of irrelevant, right?
Dude, I've seen so many agents office skip.
Yeah.
And it's like they're going from this office to this office to this office, and all they're doing is, yes, they're generating an additional commission split because
Right.
percentage, like, hey, this is what I was getting, but they don't close shit.
Right.
And me sitting, outside looking in, I'm like, I would never trust you as an agent.
Right.
If I was a friend of yours, if I was a family friend, which let's say part of your sphere of influence, I would be like, George is always fucking wearing like a different colored shirt from a different company, and his social media is always changing from all the companies that he's at.
Right.
Congratulations, congratulations, congratulations. I'm just like, you, to me, that's trash. That just means obviously you're not committed. You're looking for the highest commission split, but in reality, then I look at your numbers, you don't close shit. So I think loyalty goes a long way. It's one of the reasons why I have the ability, to call, let's say, an underwriter. Mike has the ability to, pick up the phone and call secondary. But there's certain loan officers that unfortunately don't have that path open because either they haven't built the credibility or they don't have the number of years under their belt. Um, I can pull a lot of strings. I,
Yeah.
I can pull a lot of strings because I mean I've been here for a very long time,
Yeah,
a
of
very
course.
very long
Of
time.
course. And it goes a long way. I mean, it influences a lot of decisions. I mean, because, for example, let's say on a listing of mine, if I get an offer and I see an integrity, pre-approval package, it's like, I tell the team, hey, let's look at that one right there. You know what I mean? So it
Like,
does go a long way,
except that one right there.
It goes a long way, man, because when we recognize certain people, right, that we worked with in the past and have stayed loyal, I think it speaks loud. You know what I mean? And in a competitive market, we need that. We need those. We I think that's why the people that are loyal and stay in the game long enough are always successful. You know what I mean? Because they build that reputation for themselves, and so whenever we see those names come in, we recognize them. We're like, oh yeah, this is a great team. Let's go with that offer. It influences. There's been times where it influences me on decisions and accepting an offer.
It's I think you should always do the right thing, obviously. But I think it's the professionalism to understand that this is a career.
Right.
To understand that you're not. I mean, if you're in it to for 5 years, whatever, you might burn some bridges. But for me, very 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 early on, it was treat this as a career. I'm not gonna do anything else.
Right.
Right? It's I'm a lender. I love numbers. I love finance. I love puzzles. I enjoy real estate. I enjoy the crazy transactions. I enjoy them when they're done also.
Right.
But I really, really enjoy it. It makes me happy. It's not for everyone, but I also couldn't be a doctor. Hell no, I'm not. I don't want to touch your guts. I also don't want to be a psychologist. There's a lot of things I don't want to be.
Right.
So
I think you're
when
turning into a psychologist with this podcast, though.
yeah, that's the weird part, man.
This is starting to feel like therapy here.
Yeah, I have been told that. That's weird. I guess I'm a good listener.
Hey,
I'm gonna start charging.
do you ever get people wanting to come back every Friday?
Yeah, yeah, but they got to bring me tacos for that. Um, it's it's doing the right thing, and then that creates that reputation so that you can continue to actually flourish. And so, um, it's an interesting business, man, and it's been good to me. It's been good to me, and I think that new people getting into the business, that would be one thing I would tell them: don't office hop.
Right.
Um, look at the culture of the office. That would be a recommendation for you. I don't know if I'm right, but to me,
Right.
it's like look at the culture, look at the environment, talk to the broker, and what's the support system and team they have. And the commission, you will get paid, and you can ask for a higher commission split later, but you have to almost treat it like an apprenticeship. Obviously, you have tattoos,
Right.
so no good tattoo artist, meaning like a tattoo shop owner, is going to let someone who hasn't been an apprentice for, I mean, put it at a year maybe, but you need to be an apprentice for a year. You
Right.
need to tattoo fake skin, pig skin. You got to do all your drawings. You got to do all your sketches. They will not let you touch a person's body with bigger pieces until you've actually shown that you can do all the work to then
Mm.
start generating that commission to then actually be a successful tattoo artist. But as soon as you get your license, you could sell $1 million house.
Right.
Like,
I think the culture plays a big role, right? Like one of the things in my office is that I notice is that like most of the people that come in daily or often, they feel like family there. You know what I mean? They're like family. Like it's like their second family. Some it's probably even their first. You know what I mean? Like
Well, they spend so much time there.
yeah, exactly. So like with the people there in my office, it's like family. So when we get a new agent they kind of like, let's say, naturally just blend into the family, that feels pretty cool, man. You know what I mean?
And you have 3 offices or 4?
I have three. I have three. I have the Montclair where I've been for a long time, and then we have Hesperia, and then we have in Orange, and City of Orange.
Okay.
Yeah. So Alex runs that one. Have you met Alex before?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
So
you have 3, and
three.
then you have your fix and flip.
Yeah, so mostly I've been doing right now. My main priority is kind of like just oversee the broker role, oversee real estate transactions, get involved with agents, co-list with agents when they're new. So I've been doing a lot of that, and the fix and flip. The fix and flip, probably through COVID, my business kind of flipped a little bit, right? Because I was still selling, but flips were doing really good. Like,
Right.
you know, by the time we were done with the property, it was worth 20, 30,000 more, right? So there was a lot of money being made. But in a way, through that, it transitioned me to go into more that area. I still do a lot. I still do sales, usually repeat clients or referrals, right? I like to take care of those clients when they call me. If it's someone like say was just referred, and I'll kind of interview them, and sometimes I'll still assign them to one of my agents, like one of my trustworthy agents. I'll assign it, and then we'll just split it 50-50, but I'll still oversee it. I'm doing that, and mostly structuring my fix and flip.
It's like you're the doctor,
Yeah.
right? So a long time ago, again, this whole process of creating the perfect system was me as a loan officer. My job is to be the doctor,
Mhm.
and I am not the receptionist. I am not the one that takes your blood work.
Right.
I am not the one that does all your vitals. I am not your nurse. I walk in with all the charts. So once you have all the charts, I can look at it because you only spend, what, 10, 15 minutes with the doctor.
Not even sometimes.
Right.
Right.
So you could just look at it because you have all that experience under your belt as the
Right.
actual head doctor. And then you have the nurse, this person, this person, this person take care of everything else, book the appointment, do these vitals, take these exams. But because you have so much knowledge and so many years under your belt, you are able to now have, these multiple people working, and you're actually overseeing with that knowledge to actually help them be successful and help the clients in the most, I would say, in the most effective way, because as a newer agent, they're having that direct
Right.
communication, but you're making sure that shit's running smoothly, like behind the scenes, as that, as that overseer, as that doctor.
Yeah, that's pretty much the best way so the real estate, my real estate brokerage is working exactly like that already. Exactly like that. There's people involved it's from marketing all the way. It's rare if I have to get involved, to be honest with you, in a transaction. And you're right on spot, because now I'm included in a lot of emails. Okay, so I have a lot of emails. All I do is I glance at them, and just by glancing at them, I'm looking for certain things, right?
Yeah.
Like our brain already knows. So we're looking for red flags,
Yep.
right? Red flags where we have to stop
I need to
and
jump in.
I need to jump in. And so as long as there's no red flags, I just delete, or put it in a folder, delete, that's kind of my mornings. And I'm looking for red flags though. Um, and so yeah, that's me. That's kind of what my brokerage role is. But it takes a lot of years to get there, because for you to be able to be that good where you could just glance at an email and look for red flags. And then I consult with my realtors, right, where they're stuck in a situation. And one thing about me is that I tell them when they're fucking up. You know what I mean? I don't always like when a realtor is giving me, one of my realtors is calling me to tell me a scenario. I'm actually looking for what he's doing wrong, not what the other party's doing wrong, right? Looking for what you're doing wrong. And then I call them out on their shit. I'll be like, look, I hear what they're doing, but let me tell you what you're doing, what you're
Right.
not doing right. You should have done this, this, and this, and this. I get it what you're saying about them, right? Because like we were saying later, we try to make it about the other person.
Right.
But me as a broker, I call them out on their shit because I want them to realize what they did wrong. So because we want to, I don't have 100 agents, but I want to. I think I have so close to like north of 40, 45 ish. But in reality, I want to make sure that these 45 know what they are supposed to be doing. You know what I mean? So I'm like that. They'll call me and sometimes try to complain about the other party, but I'm listening more for what they are doing right or wrong. And when they're doing everything right, like we had a case last year where there were co-selling agents that were working together, two of my agents, and then we ended up getting served after the transaction by the buyer.
Hmm.
So the first thing I tell Phoenix is bring me the whole file, put it on my desk, right? I reviewed everything. I couldn't find one thing wrong that my agents did
Hmm.
wrong. Couldn't find one thing wrong that they did wrong. I felt so proud.
Right.
I was like, wow, like beautiful. Like these guys did amazing, right?
Yeah.
And exactly that happened. The E&O insurance kicked in. They'd send attorneys, whatever, and we were dismissed. We
Yeah.
were dismissed from the case, and I was like, man, that felt good. It's like a proud father, you know?
It's
Oh,
I feel it's the same thing. Because sometimes, processing will come and they'll ask me something about, somebody else's file. And my thing is always, I never want it to be us. I never want it to be us. Like, I get the other side.
right,
We're not all built the same,
right,
right? Not everybody does this full time. Not everybody looks at it as a career. Not everybody has the same ethics we have. Like, I gotta understand the way that the rest of the world is, but I don't give a fuck about that. I care about, did we fuck up? Where's the contract? Where's the dates? Where did, like, just go through our file and our process? Was there anything we messed up on? Because once I start calling them out over here, like if I have to jump on the phone and I have to say some shit, I want to make sure this little circle over here of us and what we take care of
right.
is 100% good to go. Because there's nothing worse than calling somebody else out on their bullshit, and then they pull up a file and be like, "Hey, look what you guys did.
Right.
Look where you messed up." And it's like, "Oh, fuck." So yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Always got, yeah.
Yeah, it just works better. So, yeah, I think my agents now when
They're like,
they
"I'm not calling."
yeah, I think after a few times, they're like, I'm not calling Ricardo, and if I do, I better make sure I got my shit straight, you know?
Yeah, man.
But it's a good thing. It's a good, I guess, expectation I set for them. Because, I offer them, I do training with them bi-weekly, right?
Are
And
you doing in-person
Zoom.
training?
I do Zoom
You're doing
because my
Zoom?
agents are so spread out. Not everybody works from the office and work from home. You know what I mean? So I do a lot of Zoom now, and so yeah, I do biweekly with them. They get to ask. You know what I mean? I give classes, and sometimes the agent that doesn't attend the next day is wanting to talk to me about the stuff we talked about last night, and then
Yeah.
I'll tell them, hey, were you on class last night? 'Cause we talked about this.
Right.
You know. Um, no, I missed it, Ricardo. Yeah, no, I get it, but it's important. It's important that you guys attend to your classes, your coaching, you understand your contracts. All this is important, man. So like I've heard you say it and I agree. We get paid a lot, man. We get paid a lot in this profession. And some of us don't take it that serious. Like when it comes to our contracts. Like I asked Brian Forno from Hacienda one time came to the office and I go, what's the biggest problem you see as an escrow officer? And this guy, he's been an escrow officer for a very long time. He goes, agents don't know their contracts.
Right.
I go,
And it's changed so much.
yeah. So I'm just like, how are you going to be a mechanic and not know how to fix the tools? You know what I mean? So I like use
Yeah.
your tools. So
They came out today. No, well, the one that came out, and I have an update to put out from Gov Hutchinson.
mhm.
All the changes that your guys' damn contract has. One of the things he was highlighting was obviously those lawsuits
Mhm.
that are happening right now, the class action lawsuits, where it's already in the contract where the buyer is going to pay the buyer's agent commission.
Mm.
Right. So he's like, it's already in the contract. It's already on the RPA. Just you guys are not filling it out, right? Because it's not something that's a requirement yet. But
Right.
if this does go through, it's already there. Um, or I don't know, man. Like when I see offers, obviously we call every time that there's an offer, we call the listing agent. And I it bothers me. It bothers me if an agent does not put the listing agent's phone number on the contract.
Mm,
Because obviously what they do is, they'll just grab the MLS, do it really quick, and
right.
it'll have it'll have the office number. And so I'm thinking in my mind, okay, so you're a professional agent. You just spent this time with this client. It's a $600,000 house. Did it not behoove you to look up this phone number so that your lender could have it,
Mm.
so that I could pick up the phone easily by just looking at the email or texting it to me? Because now I got to Google this guy's number. Like, why are you making it so much harder for your client to get their offer accepted? Like, that simple phone call that we make, um, not every time, but a lot of times, has influence. Uh, I had a offer get accepted 2 weeks ago, and the listing agent, he's like, my wife's a lender, and he's like, you're the only loan officer that I've gotten a phone call from on offers. Um, and so we try to create that difference, but it's a team effort. Obviously, it's a team effort for everybody to actually be on the same page. And I wish, other brokers like yourself will call out their agents like you do and be like, hey, man, put the damn phone number on there.
Yeah.
Like, there's a section for you to put the phone number so that your lender can call and actually try to communicate on that offer. And so when you're doing those trainings, are you just doing the real estate trainings?
Yeah, I try to talk about real estate practice. My training is mostly about real estate practice, like scenarios, right? Like cancellations, how to do how to cancel a contract, because these are things that sometimes agents don't know. They're things that the agents call me about, like, hey, how do we cancel this?
Yeah.
Well, have you sent a notice to perform? No, not yet. Well, why not?
Yeah.
Contingencies were due 2 weeks ago. So stuff like that. So when I hear these things, it's like, well, why not? Like, you know what I mean? Like, why haven't you done this?
Do you do classes on your fix and flip stuff or not
I
yet?
do. I just started. So the fix and flip, it's a separate operation,
Right, right,
right?
right,
Like,
right.
so I started a coaching. I do a biweekly coaching on fix and flip, which I'll talk on topics from like hard money loans, my experience with hard money loans, my experience with the contractors, right? Just real life experiences. Some of the losses I've had with this, interest rate adjustment. I took some big losses earlier this year on some of these properties, like big losses,
Yeah.
because they were acquired last year, and my ARV was this then, and then by the time it was ready, it was this.
Yeah.
So I took a couple big hits. So I like to be very raw with them on reality of what's going on, right? Um, and then I talk about what I'm buying now with the new market, right? Like, what am I sticking to now? What's my safe zone right now? Because through back a couple years in the past, you could buy anywhere and make a profit. Everybody could have been a fix and flip investor the last
Yeah.
years, but now I think it really comes down to who really knows their shit. You know what I mean? And not only in fix and flip, but also as real estate agents. Like right now, it's coming down to who really knows what they're doing, because whoever's been doing it the wrong way, doesn't have the right mentorship, is probably out of the business right now. You know?
And I know it sucks to say, but I'm happy for that.
Yeah, I mean,
And it sucks to say because again,
right,
it's not like I never want to wish ill will against anybody else. Um, but at the end of the day, it's what I've done for 22 years. It's the only thing I've done, the only thing my family eats from. And so
right,
then when you have people that only, for example, sell rate, right? Or people who only sell 1%,
right.
it's like it doesn't provide the level of service for clients, and then you have clients that are getting bad service. And it sucks to see families go through that, right? It sucks to see families where they're working with shitty loan officers. I had a client. I had a client earlier. I want to say it's this week or last week. I think it's like a $600,000 house purchase price. That's why that 600 came out right away. And she said, "Yeah, you know what? I'm buying this house with, I think it was $12,000." And so 600,000, $12,000. I'm like, "Oh, so you're getting an assistance program?" "No, I'm not getting assistance."
Hmm.
I'm like, oh, so the seller's paying all your closing costs. No, seller's not paying any closing. I'm just like, I'm trying not to
Right, discourage them.
discourage them, but I'm just like, this is not fucking real.
Right,
Like, you're not a veteran. You're not USDA. That doesn't cover, like the down payment. That doesn't cover closing costs. So I'm thinking like, all right, like how do I tell this person that's not going to happen? You're going to get asked for more money without completely turning them off. Um, because sometimes when you tell someone that they're wrong, they shut down, right? They
right.
shut down immediately. And so, yeah, when people exit the business and it's like, now they're doing some other kind of other job, sucks for them, but I'm happy. I'm like, all right, cool.
Yeah, and the reality, I also think there's not enough for everybody right now. I
Yeah.
also think that,
Okay.
I also think there's not enough for everybody. So at the end of the day, like to say, the strong will survive, right? The people that have been in the game for a while, that have a solid foundation, that have a good pipeline, a good client database, we're going to be just fine, right? We're going to get through this. But for people maybe that were a year or two into it or barely getting into it, it's gonna take some hard work. But I mean, that's just the road you got to take, right? Like when I came into real estate was in right after, when I got licensed in 2006, 2 years later, that was big financial crisis, the
Yeah.
biggest one.
Yeah.
I didn't know what was going on, to be honest with you. I was so new. But in a way, it was probably the best time for me to come in. That's what I tell some of my brand new agents. Like, you guys are coming in a good time. I go, so many agents have left, right? What does that tell you? That tells you there's so many people out there that no longer have an agent. Like, this is the best time. I go, I don't want you to focus on how many sales you did this year, but I want you to focus how many people you met and added to your client database. I want you to focus on growing your client database as fast as possible and not focus on how many sales you did. Because if you're going to focus on sales, you're going to be discouraged this year. Okay? I go, but if you remove your mindset from there, because when I started, there was not a lot of sales either. I go, and all I did was knock doors. All I did was, a cold call. So I was just growing my client database. I was just building relations, building relations, building relations. So by the time real estate kind of, started picking up, I think like 2011, we started seeing an increase in sales. Guess what? I started seeing an increase in my sales. And as it went up, that's how I got here.
But it's that I think it's that mindset of a career,
Right.
right? Because if you have a career, it's like, okay, I'm not getting all the sales today,
Right.
but my dad would say, te estás fogueando.
Yeah.
Te estás, es cascarita, little games here, there, little
Right.
games here and there. You're learning in every instance, go to every training, go to every meeting, read as much as you can, become really knowledgeable because it may not happen today,
Right.
but understand that it's a cycle, right? And if it's a cycle, that means that there is an uptick. And whether it's 2 years from now, 3 years from now,
Right.
or even 5 years from now, well, you know what? 5 years from now and moving forward, you're gonna kill it.
Right.
But you got to be in it for the long haul.
Yeah. So that's what I'm kind of coaching them. I'm telling them, look, it's not about how many sales you close this year. There's
Yeah.
one guy that got licensed in January, and I was like, you know what? He's closed one sale so far. I go, that's fine.
Yeah.
I go, how many people you have in your client database? Oh, about 300. Awesome. How many do you plan to end the year with? 6. I'm going to hold you accountable to that. I go, because that's more important than than the sales right now. I want you to grow that database. I want you to grow. And because I go, that's what's going to pay off in the long run. I know you got to pay your bills. So, I think he's an Uber driver in the day. I go,
Yeah.
keep doing that. I go, but never stop growing your database. I go, because that's going to take you out of your driving and you're going to one day be in full-time real estate earning a lot of money.
There's a realtor. He did a podcast with Diego, and he's a bartender.
Yeah.
Right, bartender for a very long time, and that's where he would get a lot of his clients.
Right.
From bartending because he got his license. And just the communication with people, it's like, hey, you know what? I like bartending. I enjoy it. It's at night. It's not a big deal. But through conversations, he was able to pick that up to then be able to finally quit his job.
Nice.
And be successful. Like he has a couple listings here in Rancho, but it takes time, right?
Right.
It takes time, and I think it took me my mom likes to remind me. I think it took me 8 months to close my first loan. ¿Yo te recuerdas? You know, I'm like, I don't remember. It was
Yeah.
such a long time ago. She goes, I remember because I was paying all your shit. So, can anybody attend the investment side, the investment
Yeah, so I
training,
have it
or
open. I have it open. I have it open for anybody. The people that attend now are either people that had money in the bank and invested, because my operation slowly is turning into what I call OPM, other people's money.
Mhm.
So I'm creating a system. I'm really been working on that part for the most part, is where most of these fix and flips are funded by investors.
Okay.
And then they either gain interest on their money, which is a lot more than what the bank would pay them anyways, or someone would be equity share or even up to 50%. People getting 50% on some of these flips are more like contractors or project manager, people that are going to actually be involved in the operation. So you get a mixture of all of them. And then we also are starting to have like we'll have like a networking event. We had one in Pomona
Oh
like four or
yeah,
5 months
you
ago.
did. I saw
Yeah,
that.
it
It was
was kind of like a test run. We wanted to see what it would feel like. And
you got to hire George Merlos to get everybody there.
yeah, yeah, for sure. We got to hire him to come dance.
Yeah,
And
exactly. I'll let him know.
so we had a good turnaround though. We had about what 70, 80 people signed up, and we charged $35,
Mhm.
and we were like, well, maybe people don't want to pay, right? But it ended up getting packed, and we're like, whoa, it was a nice turnaround. We talked about fix and flip, and but for the most part, it was the networking I think that I enjoyed the most. You know what I mean? I like to have networking events where we talk very little and network more. You see what I mean? Like we're all there for a specific reason, but I find a lot more value in the networking. You know, meeting people, right? Like just meeting as many people.
Is
You
it
know,
hard for you to talk to strangers?
it used to be, it used to be, but none no more. I guess if I'm gonna put in, I'm still consider myself reserved. But I've learned to talk to one person at a time. Like I'm not the social butterfly that's gonna kind of know everybody at the end of the night, but I will know a good amount. You see what I mean? Social, like there's some people that socializing just comes so easy where I just see them jumping around from one crowd to another.
Yeah.
I think that's easy when you're hosting. Like when I've hosted events, it's easy for me to jump around. But if I'm just there at a guest, you have to be very social to, and know everybody by the end of the night.
Yeah.
So back in the days, I used to rely on Wences for that. Back in the days,
Wenceslao.
back in the days when me and Wences would go to
Go
event.
Wences.
Back in the days when me and Wences would go,
Yeah.
I would send him to the attack.
Yeah.
By the end of the night, that guy knew everybody. So
Yeah.
I met everybody because he would like kind of bring them and introduce them to me.
Wenceslao.
So
He is a talker.
yeah, so people like him do very well. And so I always need one or two in my team that are like that.
It's I think our industry, well, regardless, life has requires us to be chameleons. We need to be certain people in certain moments with certain individuals, certain
Yeah.
situations, but some things just come naturally, and then some things are like, ah, fuck, I don't want to go talk to that person,
Yeah.
or I don't want, I don't want to, maybe not that person, but I just don't want to try. Um, I think there's a lot of times where I go places, I will purposely put my phone away because another crutch that we have now is our phone.
Right.
So instead of actually engaging, like we'll just pull out our phone and rather than try to engage with someone,
Yeah.
try to ask them something interesting. Um, so I think part of real estate, man, and everything that you've done, I've known you for a few years, obviously. And I think that everything that real estate has allowed you to do is now, I see you in a position to be able to give back now. That's kind of what I see now.
Right.
And so that's awesome, man. So I want to, as a friend, right,
Mhm.
from the outside looking in, I want to give you kudos for that. You
Yeah.
obviously help us with the charities. You've obviously introduced us to a lot of your agents, given us the opportunity to work with them. And so if now you're on the side where you're actually helping either contractors, consumers, private individuals with their money, I know they're in great hands, and it would be like a slap seal of approval to go hang out with Ricardo and learn some stuff because I think you would do right by them, man.
Yeah, I get that feedback, and I feel honored when people trust me with $100,000 without really knowing me sometimes. You see what I mean? Like I had this lady,
It's that Instagram fool.
is it?
Yeah.
I had this lady follow me on social media, like
Uh-huh.
been following me for social media, and all of a sudden send me a message, say I have money in the bank, I want to invest. Um, and then I said, I got on the phone with her. I said, you ready to do this? Yeah, I'm ready for this. I got this much. And we tied up a property. I said, okay, I need you to wire this money. Still haven't met her in person, like till that moment.
Right.
I need to wire the EMD. I think 3 grand or so. She goes to the bank and wires it. Still doesn't know me. Hasn't met me face to face yet. And I just feel honored. And then later we do like a final walkthrough prior to funding, and she was going to wire the closing funds. So we met at the property and first met, and that's when I first met her for the first time. And I'm just like I feel honored, I feel honored that these people would trust me with not a small amount of money, right? And with her without even knowing me yet, just by following me on social media. So I feel honored in moments like that. I also went out to Dallas for like a tax advisor event. Because the more you earn, the more tax strategies you want to know. So I went out there for an event for tax strategies for investors, and as I'm there, I'm meeting people, right? Like a financial advisor, a tax strategist, gentlemen. These guys, they got money, they own assets and stuff like that, and then they find out what I'm doing, and then they're like, "Ricardo, we want to invest with you." So those, I'm like man, like this is amazing. Like I'm this kid from the streets, man. Like you know what I mean.
From P-Town with
I got these
trophies.
people right here building trophies. I got these people, just trusting in me. You know what I mean? Trusting in what I'm doing, and it feels good, man. It feels good. It feels good to that they see something in me, maybe. You know what I mean? That they're like, man, I could trust this guy, or he's doing something right. And I don't know. Maybe they went to go look at my taxes to see how much I earned too, as a reference, right? Like, let me look at his numbers because they did have those numbers because they were working on my taxes. So, whatever it was, I feel honored when these people trust me, man. And in this leadership, I guess gift or whatever you want to call it, I had it even when I was young, man. When I was in the streets, I very fast did I created my own crew. Very fast, I had like bunch of us, Ricardo was a shot caller, you know what I
Right.
mean? And so it was a gift that I had from a young age. And I used it in the streets for a long time, and then now I use it in real estate.
It's it's a story that I think um, you know, like when I look at people that have that street knowledge,
Mhm.
if that street knowledge was applied to the business world, because sometimes people are just too in the books.
Right.
And it's like, man, you don't know how to you don't know how to be a chameleon with someone that actually has money that's from the streets. You don't know how to use the language. And you also don't understand, and I've talked about this with Diego before too, and with my brother Mike. We we didn't run the streets, but we ran the streets.
Right.
And there's things from the streets that you learn that you cannot learn in a fucking room, like
Right.
in a classroom. And it gives you that extra, my dad would say, te da ese colmillo,
Yeah.
that extra umph to be able to get certain shit done that is sometimes necessary in the business world. And so it's cool to see to go from, like the trophies P Town in the alleys
Yeah.
to everything that you're doing now
Right.
because it's possible.
Yeah.
It's possible. It's a mindset, it's opportunities, it's commitment, it's belief, it's a whole bunch of fucking things,
Yeah.
right? It's God, it's all these things that have happened to help you get to where you are. And it is humbling when other people see it in you.
Right.
And it's just like, fuck, dude. Okay, like that's cool, man. Like
And
it's a
and there's a Bible verse too that stood out that I've read that talks about that. Like, let not you be the one that brags about yourself. You see what I mean?
say that again.
Like it's not that's not what the Bible
Oh,
verse
okay,
says,
okay.
but it kind of that's what it says. Like, let
Okay.
it not be you that's kind of uplifting yourself. Let other
Let it be
people see
others.
it. Let
Yeah.
other people recognize it without you even seeing it, you know?
Okay.
And I say this because there's many people out there like they'll say I'm this, I'm that, right? They give themselves the title, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
And when I went over there, hey, I'm just here to learn from you guys, right?
Humble.
I'm humble. I just want to learn from you guys. Honestly, I was put in a room of a lot of investors, and I could see some of them by the language they were using. They were high rollers, but so I'm just like, yeah, I'm just there to learn, and for them to see something in me, recognize something in me, that's the humbling part. Like the honoring part. It's like, oh, I didn't come for this. I didn't
Yeah.
come for this recognition, right?
Yeah.
But now you're telling me you want to invest. Now you're telling me you want to partner up, like. So I came back just feeling like honored. It's
That's
like,
cool,
man,
man.
that's amazing. So yeah, I have a lot of people right now trusting in my operation, trusting on the whole system I'm putting together. And so I took a big dip in losses because of the market correction, but now I went back. Every time we lose at something, we learn, right? Um,
You
so
only lose if you don't learn.
exactly. So I learned a lot. I learned a lot through these losses. I learned that there was areas that I was not solid in my foundation. So I went back to the board. I'm getting those things solid and reorganizing the whole business. And I can see how people are getting excited. Man, I have a lot of people in the team right now super excited. And our profit margins are getting, they're on the green again. And it's time to it's just exciting to turn it around. It's like starting over with the new system. It's pretty cool.
Well, at the end of the day, it's always a risk, right?
Yeah, it's
There's
always a
always a
risk. It's
risk,
always a
and
risk.
so you try to minimize risk. Um, but then there are outside forces, outside
Right.
changes that sometimes, regardless of how great of an investor you are, or you're not clairvoyant. None of us are clairvoyant, and so it's to say it's like you're gonna experience losses. I just had an investor that held onto a property for about 13 months, and it was like closing, holding cost, holding cost, holding cost every single fucking month.
Yeah, I was bleeding.
He bleeding
Yeah.
money for
Yeah.
13 months,
Yeah. I know what that feels
and
like.
they're just like, I just want to fucking get rid of it, bro.
Right.
Like, I don't care if I make money. Like, this is bleeding me.
Right.
And again, because it wasn't a bad investment,
Right.
right? It wasn't a bad investment, but profit went from, let's say, maybe six figures to like maybe I want to say like 5 grand. Um, but at the end of the day, the investor was like, "Fuck it, like I'm good with it. Like I just need to wash my hands clean." And again,
Right.
it wasn't because they did anything bad. It wasn't that it was a bad property. It's the market shifts, and
Right.
sometimes that shifts on a dime,
Right.
and then you're holding on to an asset. So the good part, for this particular individual is to say, then you also have the other investments that you have going, because if that was your only investment, then okay, then that's an issue, that's a
Right.
problem. um but yeah, man, so people can follow you on Instagram.
On Instagram, yeah, on Instagram, I believe I'm under with Q broker
Cute
underscore
broker.
Ricardo.
Cute broker.
Q.
Cute broker, yeah,
Q.
go follow Cute broker.
Q for quality and broker underscore Ricardo. Yeah. So yeah, go ahead and follow me there. We talk about real estate, talk about fix and flip. Those are the areas that I specialize in.
Good stuff, man. Well, let me show everybody this painting. I think everybody's already seen it, um, because obviously I've had it up here for you for a while. So you've seen the big S thing, and yeah, I have the other one, the smaller one for you, the more conservative one.
More conservative
Yeah, the
one.
more conservative one. We'll still get that one to you, but I wanted to give this to you, man, and thank you for stopping by. I've known you, I think, by now for almost 10 years, maybe.
Maybe
Probably close to
close.
10
Because I've
years.
been at this office for a good
Seven.
7,
I would say about seven to
so
eight
about a
years.
7 years, yeah. About seven
Um,
years, yeah.
and you and I have helped a lot of families. Our team together has helped a lot of families. And, we've obviously I've met Alex, the Orange County office, the High Desert office. And
Yeah,
so,
Javier. You met before
Javier,
Javier. So those are my managers, Alex and Javier. You worked with
yeah,
both.
with both.
And yeah, like I always speak to them highly of you. I've had a good experience working with you. I don't think we've been in escrow once and the transaction didn't close.
Nope. We close, man.
So if I could say that, that I think that says a lot itself right there because I've been in escrow with many lenders, and I could say that the times I've been in escrow with you, I don't think it's fallen out at least once. So
Never,
at
never,
least,
never,
so
never.
not that I can remember. So that's a
Oh
good
shit.
thing.
That's a good thing, man. So, um, I again appreciate everything that you do. You guys go give them a follow, Quality Real Estate, and they can also send you a message so they can come to your meetings, right? The
Yeah, for
investments
sure.
and see
I
if they can
I
invest
post
with
it
you.
sometimes right there in the story if they want to
Okay.
be part of that, and they could just send me their email, and I'll add them to the invitation.
Totally.
Cool.
Cool, man. Well, now you get to go party.
All right.
Yard house.
Bar happy.
Oh, man. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. It was
With
nice, man.
this, yeah, of course,
Yeah, this
man.
podcast is pretty cool, huh? It's just like